Go up into your attic on an August afternoon and put your hand near the underside of the roof. It's hot enough to hurt. 140 degrees, sometimes 160, baking down through your ceiling into the room where you're sitting trying to be comfortable. That heat is the reason your air conditioner runs all day, and your power bill in July looks like a car payment. And my father stopped that same heat in 1931 for about the price of a sandwich. I'll tell you exactly what he used, where you buy it today, and how you put it in this weekend. I'll also tell you the one thing it can't do, because I'm not selling you anything and I'm not going to lie to you to keep you watching. My name's Earl. My father was Harlan, and he farmed a piece of dry ground outside Macon, Georgia, through the worst years this country ever had. He kept a ledger, a real account book, cardboard covers gone soft at the corners. And in it, he wrote down every cent that came and went and every trick he figured out to keep his family alive when there was no money to buy comfort. I've got it open on the table in front of me right now. I'm an old man who never once in my life trusted a thing that came with a monthly payment. And I've got no patience for an expert who takes something simple and dresses it up so you have to pay him to do it. This is one of those simple things they buried. Here's what that recurring bill costs you. Say your summer electric runs you $200 more a month than winter because of the air conditioning. That's $600 across June, July, August. Do that for 30 years of owning a home and you've handed the power company around $18,000 just to fight heat that's pouring in. Through a roof you already paid for. And a big share of that heat, the radiant share, the part that comes down off the hot roof deck, you can turn back for under $10 one time. Not a subscription, not a service plan. One afternoon's work in a house you already own. Let me read you what Harlan wrote. The entry is dated June of 1931. Roof like a stove by noon. Tacked tin foil to the rafters over the sleeping room, shiny side down with tar paper behind it. Cost near nothing. Foil from town, paper we had. Room give up 2-3 degrees by evening and the heat don't sit on the children at night. And then down in the margin, underlined twice, he wrote 5 words I'll come back to before we're done. Leave it breathe an inch. Now I want you to understand why a sheet of shiny foil does anything at all. Because if you get this, the rest makes plain sense. Heat moves 3 ways. It moves by touch, it moves by riding warm air, and it moves by radiating. Beaming straight across open space like the warmth you feel off a wood stove before you've even touched it. Your hot roof deck does exactly that. It soaks up sun all day, and then it beams that heat downward, across your attic, into the top of your ceiling, and down onto you. Regular insulation, the fluffy pink stuff, slows the touch and air kind of heat, but it does almost nothing against the radiant kind. The beam goes right through it. A shiny aluminum surface stops the beam. A clean sheet of foil reflects something like 95% of radiant heat straight back the way it came. So you hang that bright surface in the path between the hot roof and your living space, shiny side facing down into the attic. And most of that downward beam bounces back up to the roof and leaves the way it came in. The room underneath stops getting cooked. That's the whole science. A farmer with no schooling figured it out by feel, and it is exactly correct. So why have you never heard of it? Why isn't this the first thing anybody tells you when your summer bill comes in? Because there is no money in it. Follow me here. A radiant barrier can't be patented in any way that matters. It's just reflective foil. Anybody can make it. Anybody can hang it. It needs no permit and no certified installer. It has no model number, no filter to replace, no annual inspection, no service contract. You buy it once, you put it up, and it sits there working silently for 40 years and never asks you for another dime. To an industry, that's not a product, that's a leak. Now look at what grew up instead. After the Second War, central air conditioning got sold into American homes as the answer to summer. A big, expensive machine that runs on your power, breaks down, needs a technician twice a year, and gets replaced every 15 years or so. By the mid-1950s, that was the path everybody was pushed down. The cooling industry, the utilities that sell the power to run it, the contractors who service it. A cheap reflective layer that quietly cuts your cooling load doesn't fit anywhere in that business. Nobody profits when your attic fixes itself. So it didn't get taught, it didn't get advertised, it dropped out of the ordinary builder's habits, and a method farmers used freely in the 1930s became a thing almost nobody's grandchildren ever heard of. They didn't have to ban it. They just had to sell you something louder and let the quiet thing be forgotten. There's no conspiracy in a smoke-filled room. There's just 30 years of monthly bills, and a thing you can't bill for never gets a champion. It makes me angry, and I'll tell you why plainly. They didn't lose this knowledge. They had no use for it, so they let your family lose it. And then they sold the comfort back to you by the month for the rest of your life. All right, here is how you do it this weekend for about $7 in materials. And the modern version is even easier than tin foil and a hammer. Go to any home center, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, an Ace, doesn't matter. Ask for radiant barrier foil, sometimes sold as reflective attic foil or radiant barrier roll. The double-sided perforated kind is what you want, and the perforated part matters. I'll explain in a second. A small roll runs cheap. For one hot bedroom, you need only a strip a few feet wide and as long as the room, and you can often buy it by the foot or get a remnant. $7 covers the space over one room. If you want to wrap a whole attic later, you buy a full roll. But start with the room that cooks you at night. You're going to staple it to the underside of the roof, to the rafters. The slanted boards the roof deck sits on with the foil facing down into the attic, hanging on the underside of those rafters. You can also lay it loosely over the top of your existing insulation, foil side up, but stapling it to the rafters works better and keeps it out of the dust. Use a hand stapler, half-inch staples, and run the sheet from rafter to rafter, so it covers the slope of the roof above the room you care about. Overlap the edges a couple of inches where two pieces meet. That's it. A couple of hours, a dust mask, a work light, and you're done. Now here is Harlan's margin note, the underlined one, and it is the single most important thing in this whole video. Leave it breathe an inch. Do not seal the foil tight and airtight against everything. You want an air gap between the shiny surface and whatever's behind it, at least 3/4 of an inch of open air on the reflective side. Radiant barrier only works facing an airspace. Smashed flat against another surface, it loses most of its effect and can trap moisture. That's also why you buy the perforated kind. The tiny holes let water vapor pass through so it doesn't get trapped and rot your wood. Foil facing air with a way for moisture to breathe. Harlan knew it by feel in 1931. The science caught up and agreed with him. Do this over the room that bakes worst. And on the next hot afternoon, go feel the ceiling. It'll have stopped throwing heat down at you. Your air conditioner will cycle off sooner and stay off longer. In a hot climate, a good attic radiant barrier commonly cuts cooling costs, somewhere in the range of 5 to 15%. Real money, every summer, forever, off $7. Now the honest turn, because that trust is the only thing I'm here to keep. This is not magic, and it is not a whole house air conditioner. A radiant barrier fights radiant heat, the beam off the hot roof. It does very little for heat that's already conducting through your walls. And in a cold climate in winter, it does almost nothing useful for you. If your attic is poorly insulated and badly ventilated, fix the insulation too. The foil works alongside insulation, not instead of it. It will lower your bill, not erase it. I'd rather you know that going in than feel cheated in July. And the one safety rule, and I'll say it twice because it matters more than the savings. Keep that foil away from anything electrical. Recessed light cans, junction boxes, knob and tube wiring, any old fixture in the attic. Foil conducts electricity, so you keep it clear of all wiring and fixtures, with daylight between the foil and anything carrying current. Keep the foil clear of all wiring and fixtures. If you have old or questionable wiring up there, you stop, and you do not hang foil near it. That's the whole danger, and it's easy to avoid by just leaving a wide gap around every wire and box. So here's what you've got now that an industry has counted on you not having. The heat cooking your bedroom comes off the roof as a downward beam. A shiny perforated sheet stapled under your rafters with an inch of air behind it turns most of that beam around. And the whole fix costs about $7 in one afternoon. The same thing my father did over his children's beds in the summer of 1931, before anybody thought to sell you a machine to do it for 30 years. I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and tell me the last thing you paid a professional good money to handle that your grandparents would have just done themselves. And if your own family had a way of beating the heat, a sleeping porch, a wet sheet in the window, a cellar room they moved to in August, write it down here. There's a whole library of this knowledge scattered across the people watching, and the comments are where we put it back together. If you're the kind of person who remembers when folks knew how to do things, subscribe and stand with us. This isn't for me. It's a few 100,000 people quietly taking back what got sold off. One cheap, honest method at a time. Next time I'm opening the ledger to an entry Harlan wrote about wash day and the soap. There's a powder that costs almost nothing and a way of mixing it into a gel that does the work of the jugs of detergent you carry home every month, washing soda laundry gel, and the company that's been selling you the expensive version by the bottle would very much rather you never learned it. We'll do that. One next. It's all in the ledger.